Hello, guys, and welcome to Sustainability Simplified, your bi monthly dose of how to seamlessly build an action oriented, sustainable, and profitable business. We're also the official podcast for the Sustainability Council.in, a network, an international network of sustainability enthusiasts, professionals, experts, and entrepreneurs registered on sustainabilitycouncil.in. I'm your host, Zitin, and today, before I introduce our very dynamic guest here, I'm super happy to announce that Sustainability Simplified is now also available on video. So, yep, you'll find us on all audio platforms as always, and there'll also be video coverage on our YouTube channel. Visit linktr.ee /sustainability simplified. Great. So back to the episode. Today we'll be getting into conversation with Dheeman Kadam, who is the co-founder and chief marketing officer of goEgoNetwork. You'll find out what this amazing organization does in just about a few seconds. Welcome, Dheeman. It's a great pleasure to have you here. How are you today?
Hi. Thanks for having me, and I'm doing great. Yeah, you can ask me whatever we do, and it's great to be here. And hello to the audience as well.
Thank you so much, Dheeman. That's quite a sport, and let's just dive in. Yeah, great. Great. So, please share a little bit about yourself first. We'd like to know.
Let me start by what I'm doing right now. I'm the chief marketing officer for goEgo Network. Uh, I take care of the entire sales and marketing for our EV charging network. We'll dive deeper into that later. Before that, I was a founder of my own startup called Karaoke, wherein that was a aggregator for car servicing. Got funded thrice, and then I exited out of the startup in 2019. Before that, I was working with JD Power doing customer satisfaction index surveys. And before that, I was in the oil and gas field, wherein I was placed with Sarco. So, education wise, civil engineer, and obviously more or less not an engineer at heart, more of a automotive enthusiast, uh, looking at the startups I had. So from tailpipe pollutants all the way to clean mobility. So that's the kind of journey I have had. Uh, Luckily for me, in one life, so have had the experience of both worlds, and yeah, happy to be on this fun ride with GoEgo.
That's wonderful to know. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's quite a diverse experience, as you mentioned already. We'd like to kind of know a little bit about your journey of really starting Go Ego, and then, along with the other two co founders. And also, if you can elaborate a little more about what is really the USP of the brand, as a pioneer in the EV charging space in India.
Yeah. The concept was conceived by our founder, Mr. Shayantan Chakraborty, in the Netherlands. At that time, he was working with a bank along with our co-founder, again, who was based in the Netherlands, Mr. Praveen Kumar. Shayantan and I go back all the way to engineering. We have been mates that time as well. Uh,
Wonderful.
that time I was doing my startup in 2019 when he was down in India, and he said that I'm seeing a lot of clean mobility EV kind of move happening in the Europe, and I believe that we as a country should be on this EV space bandwagon, and I think we can create a difference wherein till that time all the EV products were more or less Chinese, and reliability was a big issue. Technology was not cutting edge. So that is something which he said that would you help me start this in India? And yeah, so Praveen, Chandan, and I then decided that let's quit everything and start this. So yeah, they quit their jobs in the Netherlands, came back to India in 2020. From 19 to 20, I was the only employee, and the guy who was taking care in India, the R&D lab was set up in the Netherlands. So as you asked for a USP, one of the biggest USPs is the technology. We are very cutting edge. What that means is that the software is very scalable, the chargers are very safe, uh, the experience is very seamless. So these are the three major USPs. If you go digging deeper, we are the only OCA certified startup in India. So it's an open charge alliance, which basically says that there is a particular protocol called OCPP, uh,
Right.
on which the chargers communicate with the central management system.
Okay.
So our technological prowess is in that. We are the only OCA certified company on that front. Other than that, we are also a Make in India company. One of our biggest achievements is that we have a 40,000 square feet factory to scale up production as and when required. And our biggest USP is we have a R&D based in the Netherlands, which then puts us right in the middle of, yeah, cutting edge technology.
It's absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and great to know that you all have been able to kind of steer it in the right direction and take on this very very important task of actually better mobility, cleaner mobility. So that's really kudos to all of you. So now digging deeper or diving deeper a little into the EV space at large. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because it's still picking up pace, right, across India.
Yeah. So let's maybe take a step back and uh, let me tell you about EVs first. See, the space is something which is made up of uh, the ecosystem players. So
Right.
electric vehicles, as such, uh, one of the most efficient ways to transport. Uh, Noise free, pollution free, and most efficient in all aspects. Wherein one of our campaigns is that in 2000 rupees you can travel from Pune to Bombay. In 2000 rupees you can travel from Pune to Sydney on an EV. It is that efficient.
Wow.
So yeah, means all these things are which basically leads to a lack of awareness about this entire space. Uh, People look at it as if it's rocket science, wherein hey, I
Yeah.
get questions asked all the way from, can I go to a car wash? मेरे को शौक तो नहीं बैठेगा. So
Oh.
बेसिक्स लाइक देन माय आंसर वुड बी लाइक गाड़ी तू बारिश में चला सकता है तो कार वॉश भी जा सकता है दैट काइंड ऑफ thing. So again, see, there are many hurdles which you need to cross as a greenfield industry, wherein you will first have the people who will be questioning the technology itself, whether it's advanced enough to keep you safe. First of all, it's electric. Electricity, as it is a very means you see the danger sign everywhere you see electricity.
Right.
So that is something which people are very careful about. Apart from that, there is a lot of uh, slack which the industry faces because of the cheaper Chinese products which were initially introduced in this space. People associate it with that kind of
Yeah.
technology as well. So that is one more barrier which you have to cross. And third, and most importantly, what we are in the business of is the charging infrastructure space, wherein people keep questioning the whole thing. I can go and fill up petrol at a petrol station, which is probably say 5 kilometers away max, or somewhere on the highway. What do I do when I buy an EV?
Yeah.
What they are not realizing is that this is not limited by the supply chain. That means anywhere there is electricity, there is scope of charging. That that basically means that your vehicle is sitting idle under your house or under your office or at your college, wherever you're going. There could be a charging station which you could charge your vehicle with. That means it's saving you one trip to a petrol station. It's more efficient.
Yeah.
you can get charged wherever you are stagnant, because electricity is not limited by the supply chain like the oil industry, wherein the diesel and petrol is transported to a petrol pump and then you can go to a petrol pump and fill it. Here, electricity is abundantly available. From what I had a conversation with you, probably not as much available in Netherlands as
Yeah.
in Bombay and many kind of cities. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the space is all about, wherein we are trying to break that barrier and putting infrastructure everywhere so that people switch to electric and adopt a cleaner, greener mode of transport.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well put, and thanks so much for sharing that. I know that you shared a little bit already about what are the kind of challenges and hurdles that you've crossed in the journey, and also the opportunity, right, in the EV space, and just the fact that your car is stagnant, you can, get it charged right there and then. So, are there any other challenges that you might have faced in the journey of, establishing GoEgo network, and or any new opportunities that you may have come across that you might want to share?
Yeah, so the challenges are, as mentioned, lack of awareness, lack of EVs present on
Yeah,
ground for people to experience. I'm hoping that Ola Electric, Simple Energy, all these guys coming in can change that
yeah,
uh, and break the myth of the ICE. The ICE is the IC engine, the internal combustion engine. So
okay,
that's what needs to get replaced. The tailpipe pollutants uh, need to go down. All those things are uh, where these big OMCs, these big ICE manufacturers are pumping in money to delay this transition to electric. Another big problem or challenge which we will face is the grid fluctuation, or the kind of power which will be required once we reach a kind of threshold. So these challenges are existent because end of the day it's a greenfield area, and we
right,
will overcome. These are more or less certain challenges which can be operationally overcome. What opportunities this presents is where, which is very interesting. One of the biggest opportunities is that 99% of the entire population is still on ice. That means there is such a huge, immense scope that you can actually switch the entire 99%. That big a
yeah,
market it is. So,
yeah,
total addressable market is as many vehicles sold till date of all ice. So, that is a huge market. Second thing, what probably the government has done really well here is that it is a deregulated business. That means you don't need licenses or like a petrol pump thing. You don't need multiple go aheads from certain departments. So all that coordination is taken away. So the ease of starting a business in EV charging infra is very, very little.
right,
It's just the basic raw material is money. The second basic raw material is space, and you start. Like
right,
that's all it requires.
right,
And third biggest opportunity is that with the kind of push to electricity which is coming and has always been, uh, everything and any place where electricity is available can be a possible means to charging. So we are not limited by supply chain, which I keep telling. So yeah, opportunities are immense on this. It's like the disruption is waiting to happen, but it's contained. Like it's contained and it could just explode anytime. I'm hoping that happens soon, and we will be in the midst of it.
That's wonderful to know. And there are absolutely so many opportunities. Like, even when I think of EV, and of course, my knowledge about EV is very, very limited. And then when you speak about all those other additional factors, that you just spoke about, they really make me think so much more about, how wide the horizon can really go. If once it really picks up that pace, that it is meant to. So wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Great. So before we move to like the concluding section of the podcast, there's a quick surprise this or that section, which is basically which is basically like I'll ask you three quick questions and you have to choose between this or that. There will be two options. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful. So the first one is Mumbai, which is where you're born and brought up, and or Pune. Which one would you prefer?
Mumbai.
Okay, wonderful, great. Next one is karaoke or goego.
Go ego.
Okay, and the last one is I know you like reading books, so would you prefer reading books or giving like public speaking, like giving talks? So would it be learning more or teaching more?
Learning more. I don't think I'm a great orator. So, yeah, I need to learn that as well. And then probably my answer might turn.
Okay, okay. So reading books for now then. Okay.
Yeah, reading books for now, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was quite a rapid one and very well done. So thank you so much for that. Wonderful. So let's
Thank
move
you.
to, yeah, let's move to the concluding part, which is, any advice that you might want to give, to our listeners, especially those who might want to pursue the EV space, if you can share that.
Yeah, so first of all, you don't need to worry about the potential. It's a huge market. It's a greenfield area, so these are two things always going for you. It's not a technology which is gonna get disrupted soon. It's gonna disrupt a technology where you should be worried about. So the existing technology will change. Uh, Third thing, huge potential there means if you're planning to get into this space, if you're planning to start a business, like you will always have a first mover advantage here. And yeah, this industry is here to stay, so might as well do it early.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well put. And you also did speak about that briefly in the last question when I asked you about the opportunities, really. So thank you so much for reiterating that. And I'm sure our listeners will benefit from that. Great. So to wrap up, how could our listeners really reach out to you and or GoEgo Network if they wish to know more?
So our handles are at the rate goEgoNetwork on all the possible social media platforms. Website is again goegonetwork.com or goego.in, whichever you prefer. Uh, yeah, that's how they can reach out, and we'll be happy to serve the people who want to get into clean mobility, want to get into EV charging, or just plain simple are inquisitive about how can I maximize my profits from the limited money we have. So yeah, it's a it's means you guys need to visit the website or go to our handle and check out ways how you can make a difference, switch to electric, and make sure that yeah, the environment is sustainable.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much, Dhiman, for your time. I'm pretty certain that this conversation will really, really spark that curiosity about the EV space and also help others to build, their journey of growing purposeful businesses like yours. So thank you once again for your time. Take care.
Thank you for having me. Nice talking to you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening. And if you like this podcast, feel free to share it in your network. My one takeaway from this podcast was the EV charging space and the EV space at large is just booming. It is about to come at that brink of opening a world of opportunities. So go for it. And if you're not interested in looking at it as a business, then must switch to electric. Of course, it's always good for the environment. If you found this podcast insightful, and if you're also an aspiring entrepreneur or you have an operational business but don't know how to kickstart your sustainability journey, stay tuned for something exciting coming your way. Follow me on my socials to find out more about what's in store. Until next time.